Most men think doing more gets a woman to want more. It's actually the opposite. The less you chase, the more she craves you. Number 14 is the one that changes everything. 1. Every woman wants a man who notices the small stuff before she even has to point it out. Not the big romantic gestures you see in movies, but the tiny details. She changed her hair. She seems a little quieter today. She's been stressed about work all week. When you catch that on your own without being told, something shifts in her brain. She feels seen in a way most people never make her feel. Most men wait for a checklist or an argument to figure out something is wrong. The men who win at relationships are watching quietly all the time, connecting dots nobody asked them to connect. That's not mind reading. That's just paying your attention instead of pretending to. 2. She craves being chosen again and again, and not just once at the beginning. In the first few months, everybody feels chosen. That's easy, that's chemical, that's no relationship energy doing the heavy lifting. What she actually wants, deep down, is still feel chosen a year in, 5 years in. After the routine sets in, and the excitement fades. She wants a little proof over and over that you'd still pick her out of everyone if you had to choose today. Comfort without ongoing effort reads to her as complacency, not security. The couples who last aren't the ones who never get comfortable. They're the ones who keep choosing each other on purpose, out loud, even when nobody is watching. The women crave feeling safe enough to fall apart in front of you, not physically safe, emotionally safe. She wants to know that if she cries, snap, gets anxious, or has an ugly day, you're not going to flinch, shut down, or start treating her differently. A lot of men accidentally teach women to hide their hard emotions by reacting with discomfort, silence, or annoyance. The second thing get messy. That teaches her to perform calm instead of actually being close to you. What she's really craving is a partner who can sit in the mess with her without trying to immediately fix it or run from it. That's what real emotional safety looks like, and very few people ever offer it. 4. She wants you to remember things without being reminded. Her coffee order, the name of her co-worker she complained about once, the date of something that mattered to her 3 weeks ago. It sounds small, almost silly, but memory is one of the clearest signals of attention a person can give. When you remember details unprompted, it tells her she's not background noise in your life. She's actually being processed, stored, though about even when she's not in the room. Most people only remember what benefits them directly. The rare person who remembers what matters to someone else purely because it matters to them becomes impossible to forget. 5. Women crave a man who can handle her success without competing with it. So many relationships quietly collapse because a man feels threatened at the moment a woman starts winning, getting promoted, making more money, getting attention for her work. She's not looking for a man who cheers loudly and means nothing by it. She's looking for a man whose ego doesn't wobble when she shines. A partner who genuinely feels proud, not smaller, when she succeeds is rarer than people admit. That kind of security isn't taught in school or in dating advice videos. It's built by a man who has his own sense of worth completely separate from hers. If this is heading home for you, drop a red heart in the comments. I want to see how many of you actually needed this today. 6. She craves honesty even when it's uncomfortable more than constant comfort. In agreement, most men think being agreeable keeps the peace. In reality, women can usually sense when they're being managed instead of tied to what she actually respects, even if it stings in the moment, as a man who tells her the truth calmly instead of avoiding conflict to keep things smooth. Fake peace built on avoided conversations always collapses later, usually at the worst possible time. Real respect sounds like I don't agree, and here's why. Delivered without cruelty. Women remember who was honest with them far longer than they remember who simply told them what they wanted to hear. 7. Women crave physical affection that isn't the setup for something else. A hand on the back walking through a room, an arm around her shoulder on the couch, a hug that lasts an extra 5 seconds for no reason. When affection only shows up right before sex, she starts to feel like touch is transactional instead of genuine. What she's really craving is casual, low-stakes physical closeness that says, I like being near you. Full stop, no agenda attached. That kind of touch builds trust and a completely different part of the brain than passion does. Men who master this affection with zero expectation behind it end up getting far more closeness in every sense than the ones chasing it directly. 8. She wants a man who can make decisions without needing her to manage every single one. Constant what do you wanna do back and forth might seem considerate, but over time it becomes exhausting because now she's doing the emotional labor of planning for two people. What she actually craves is a partner who can take initiative, pick the restaurant, plan the weekend, make the call without turning it into a 20-minute negotiation. Confidence and small decisions signals confidence everywhere else too. It's not about control, it's about relief. She wants to relax sometimes and just be less than very good instead of always being the one steering. 9. Women crave feeling desired, specifically, not generically. She wants to feel like your attraction to her is personal, tied to who she actually is, not just a category of attractive woman she happens to fit into. Generic compliments like you're pretty land completely differently than something specific like the way she laughs at her own jokes before finishing them. Specificity proves you're actually looking at her, not just appreciating a type. Most men default to vague, easy compliments because they're safer and require no real observation. The men who notice specific, weirdly particular things about a woman are the ones that she can't stop thinking about because it feels impossible to fake. 10. She craves a partner who apologizes without turning it into a debate. A real apology sounds like, I was wrong, I'm sorry, here's what I'll do differently, not I'm sorry you felt that way, or I'm sorry but you also. The second a man adds a about that apology stops being an apology and becomes self-defense, wearing an apology's clothes. Women pick up on this instantly, even if they don't say it out loud in the moment. What she actually craves is ownership without tricks and without keeping score. A clean apology given without needing credit for giving it does more to rebuild trust than almost anything else in a relationship. Which touch from the previous video. Have you never tried? Be honest. 11. Women crave feeling like a priority during hard times and not just during the good ones. Anyone can show up when things are fun. Trips, dates, celebrations. What actually earns lasting trust is showing up when she's sick, stressed, grieving, or having the worst week of her month. She's watching, even quietly, to see if you disappear or lean in when things get inconvenient. A man who treats hard seasons as an obligation to escape teaches her that his presence is conditional all along. A man who treats hard seasons as simply part of being together becomes someone she trusts at a level most people never reach with anyone. 12. She craves a man who listens to understand and not to respond. Most conversations turn into two people quietly waiting for their chance to talk, half listening while mentally preparing their next sentence. Women can feel the difference almost immediately between someone actually absorbing what they're saying and someone just being polite until it's their turn. What she's really craving is a partner who asks a follow-up question because he is genuinely curious and not because he is supposed to. That kind of listening makes people feel more understood in 5 minutes than most relationships achieve in 5 years. It costs nothing but attention, and almost nobody actually gives that. 13. Women crave a man who can tolerate her having other priorities besides them. Friends, career, hobbies, alone time. She wants a partner who doesn't quietly punish her for having a full life outside the relationship. Good therapy, sulking, or side jobs about her being busy teach her to sharing her world just to keep the peace at home. What she actually craves is a man secure enough to encourage her independence instead of feeling threatened by it. Paradoxically, the less you try now be her entire world, the more she wants you in it. Neediness requires the exact closeness as chasing every single time. 14. She craves a feeling like the two of you are a team facing outward problems together, not facing each other as opponents. When money is tight, family drama hits, or work gets stressful, she wants a partner mentality will figure this out instead of finger pointing or silent resentment. Couples who last talking about problems as a shared us versus the issue instead of you versus me. That single middle shift changes almost everything about how conflict feels. Women crave that partnership energy far more than they crave a man who never makes mistakes. Mistakes are survivable comfortable. Feeling alone in a two-person relationship is what actually breaks people down over time. 15. Women crave a man who can sit with silence without needing to fill it, nervously comfortable, quiet, in a car, on a couch during a meal is actually one of the clearest signs of real intimacy between two people. Constantly filling silence with jokes, questions, or noise can secretly signal anxiety instead of connection. What she craves is a partner who's fully relaxed, just existing next to her. No performance required. That kind of calm presence is deeply rare and deeply attractive because it proves you don't need constant validation from her to feel okay. Silence that feels safe instead of awkward is one of the most underrated forms of closeness there is. Be honest, does your partner actually get a number 14 or are you the only one carrying it? 16. She craves a man who protects her image, especially when she is not in the room. What do you say about her to your friends, your family, or online matters more than most men realize? Women can often sense almost intuitively whether a man speaks about her with respect or throws in little digs disguised as jokes when she's not around to defend herself. What she's really craving is a loyalty that exists even in her absence. Someone who defends her name the same way had defended to her face. That kind of consistency, public and private, matching up with a level of trust that flattery alone could never touch. 17. Women crave feeling physically safe without ever having to ask for it directly. Walking to the car at night, being in a non-familiar place, feeling uneasy in a crowd. She wants a partner whose presence alone makes those situations feel less threatening without her having to spell it out every time. This isn't about being aggressive or performative. It's about steady evenness, quiet protectiveness, being the kind of person whose calm confidence rubs off on her nervous system. Feeling safe isn't romantic and a movie sense, but it's one of the deepest, most primal things a woman carries from a partner, whether she says it out loud or not. 18. She craves a man who can take feedback about the relationship without getting defensive. When she brings up something that's bothering her, what she's really testing is whether you can hear it as information instead of an attack. Getting defensive, shutting down, or turning it around on her teaches her that bringing up problems isn't safe. So eventually, she stops bringing them up altogether, and silence in a relationship is far more dangerous than friction. What she actually craves is a partner who says, "Tell me more," instead of you're overreacting. Feedback taken well is one of the strongest predicators of a relationship's long-term health. 19. Women crave feeling proud to introduce you to the people who matter to them. This isn't about status, money, or how impressive you look on paper. It's about whether she trusts your show as your best, most respectful self around her family and friends, representing both of you well. A man who makes her feel nervous or embarrassed in social settings, chips away at attraction slowly, even if nothing dramatic ever happens. What she craves instead is quiet confidence that makes introducing you feel effortless, like she's excited for people to finally meet you instead of anxious about how it might go. 20. She craves being teased playfully without ever being marked or belittled. Good-natured teasing, light, fun, clearly affectionate actually builds attraction and keeps a relationship feeling alive instead of overly serious all the time. But there's a thin line between playful teasing and comments that quietly chip away at her confidence disguised as jokes. Women crave a man who knows exactly where that line is and never crosses it, even accidentally. That balance of fun without cruelty is one of the hardest social skills to master, and one of the most magnetic when a man actually gets that right consistently. Which one of these 20 hit you the hardest? Drop the number below. 21. Women crave a partner who initiates emotional check-ins instead of only reacting to hers. Most men wait for a woman to say something's wrong before addressing anything emotional. What she's actually craving is a partner who occasionally asks, how are you really doing, without any prompting, just because he genuinely wants to know. That kind of unprompted curiosity tells her emotional connection isn't just her job to mention in the relationship. Relationships where only one person tracks the emotional temperature eventually exhausts that one person completely. She craves shared responsibility for the emotional climate and not just being the one who brings it up every single time. 22. She craves a man who is still curious about her life after the relationship stops being new early on. Everyone asks questions, wants to learn everything, stays up late checking what she is really craving. Years down the line is a partner who never stops treating her like there's more to discover. People change, grow, shape their opinions and interests over time, and the men who keep asking questions instead of assuming they already know everything are the ones who stay genuinely connected. Curiosity more than passion is what keeps a relationship feeling alive decades in. And it's a deep one thing almost nobody warns you'll need to keep practicing. Out of all 22, which one is your partner already doing without even realizing it? These are the 22 things women crave from men, but rarely ever say out loud, from remembering small details to protecting her name when she's not in the room. This video breaks down exactly what builds real trust and attraction. Next time, I want to talk about the signs a woman likes you and is trying not to show it. Female psychology, you don't want to miss. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it.